Faint sounds of subway trains, city ambience, a lighter flicks, someone beatboxing in the distance.
Hey yo, gather round, let me put y'all on. See, the game ain't just about paper, it's about legacy. You stacking bills or building empires. You reading signs or stuck reading headlines. It's time to elevate, knowledge reborn. Feel me? Shout out to Shy Bliss, Mama T. Hey yo, I came from the dirt where the lost ones lurk. Now I channel serious when I put in this work. From the street lights to the starlight, knowledge divine. Got the whole zodiac mapped out my mind. 777s when I shuffle, every move is a line. Had to break free, cut the chains on my mind. You see they trap us in illusions, keep the wisdom diluted. But I'm building like the Moors did, all black suited. Running numbers like Pythagoras, adding up digits. Turn a cipher to a temple, got the ancestors with us. This that Pharaoh flow, deep like the metronome. Boom, bap, quantum math, every bar set in stone. We was born in the fire, raised in a storm. But the knowledge stays sacred, the wisdom stays strong. Turn the pain into gold, let the lessons live on. We the lost now found, it's the knowledge reborn. We was born in the fire, raised in a storm. But the knowledge stays sacred, the wisdom stays strong. Turn the pain into gold, let the lessons live on. We the lost now found, it's the knowledge reborn.
Yeah. Yeah. What's going on, everybody? How y'all doing out there? It's your girl, Shy Bliss, aka Mama T. What's happening, y'all? What's happening, y'all? What's happening, y'all? What's happening, y'all? Yeah. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. Put a one in the chat. Put a one in the chat if you can hear me. I need to know if you can hear me before I go into my thing. Y'all know how I do. Sometimes I come on here and I go into my thing and don't nobody hear a damn thing I said. Braveheart, put a one in the chat. Shout out. It's been a minute. It's been a minute since Stella Maris been in the building. Listen, we got a show in store for your ass today. You hear me? You hear me? Y'all ready for this? Are y'all ready for this? This is not a game. This is live and in living color. Thank you all for being here. Once again, I got a couple announcements to make. I got a couple announcements to make before we jump right into the thing. First thing I want y'all to do, if you haven't already, Quantum Fest 2025 in Houston, Texas will be in the building. Yes, Quantum Fest 2025, y'all. Quantum Fest 2025, definitely in the building. This summer solstice, June 21st to the 22nd. One heck of a festival, a metaphysical festival. Yours truly will be there. One of the guests that are appearing tonight, we already named her Dr. Rev. She's gonna be in the building. Strange Wordplay gonna be in the building. Ty Phoenix is gonna be in the building. I Am God Frequency is gonna be in the building. Look, we got about 15 influences in the building, a festival, a concert, lectures, workshops. You want to be there, go ahead and hit up quantumfest.net with the sacred code Mama T or Mama 20. I'm sorry. Save you a couple of coins while it still lasts. There are a couple of options on that, honey. They done made a meet and greet on there for you, girl. They got me busy around here. It's going to be quite busy. But without further ado, let me tell y'all something about this. What's going on? Welcome to another Deep Soul transmission of the Stella Maris podcast, where we dive into the cosmic, the ancestral, and the untold truths of the Great Mother. I am your hostess with the mostest, Shy Bliss, aka Mama T, also known in these streets as Stella Maris. And tonight we are entering sacred territory. This episode is called The Fall and the Rise of the Matriarchs. And make no mistake, baby, this is not your average women empowerment talk. This is reclamation. This is a resurrection, a roundtable council of womb carriers and cosmic oracles who are here to speak the unfiltered, the unwritten, and the unapologetic truth. We are joined tonight by two phenomenal sisters, scholars, and sacred guides. We got Rev Dr. Sahaja I hope I said that right, sister. You know how I do. Please forgive me if I didn't. She's a speaker, a sacred healing guide, and a metaphysical life coach. And diva. Now you already told me how I say your name. You know I ain't gonna get it right. Laree, I hope I said it. Diva Laree of UNA University, a divine vessel of remembrance and restoration. She's gonna break down these Y and X chromosomes, the divine contracts, and connect it to law and how we can help resurrect ourselves today. Together, we'll explore how women, once keepers of cosmic law and earth womb's gates, fell into servitude, silence, and separation. We'll talk about our ancient glory, the betrayals, yes, even the ones we committed against each other, jealousy, self-hate, religious control, and the archetype of the institutionalized patriarchal woman. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, we getting into that. Yes, indeed. But at the end of the day, we will also remember who we are and how we rise again. Honey, this is a sacred sip session. Y'all better go ahead and get your tea. Pour your tea, cleanse your space, and lean in. You are sitting at the round table of the ancient ones now. So, before we begin, we're going to take a little commercial break. This is time for you to go ahead and get your tea, get everything ready, get your glasses, whatever, your vino, your dry refreshments, because this is going to be a whole activation. Welcome to the portal, Stella Maris Podcast. See you in a second.
Peace and positive vibrations. Welcome to the portal as you enter into the world of the sacred. It starts with a pour, slow, intentional, steam curling like whispers from the ancestors. We don't just sip tea, we build legacies. We're in alignment. This is a vibration you can feel, touch, taste, and smell. The ancients knew. They sip to awaken, to dream in technicolor, to open the third eye, to use the realms unseen, to tap in. Blue lotus, born from the Nile, kissed by the moonlight, woven into the mystic hands of time, infused with mango green and peach oolong, apple, hibiscus, ginger, a blend of the body, soul, and spirit. And now, it's yours. Hand blended, small batch, crafted with intention. Cause when it's gone, baby, it's gone. Because real magic ain't mass produced. One drop at a time. How we flow. It's a vibe, sacred tea, baby. So don't wait, tap in, sip deep, and let this moment be a ritual, a return, a renewal. SacredTea.net.
Let's get it.
Claim your cup.
Sacred tea.
Before the last drop is poured.
Sacred tea. Sacred tea.
All right, y'all. All right, y'all. Y'all see what it is. Welcome to the building. Welcome to the building. We have two dynamic sisters in here today. Sister Diva Laree.
Thank you for having me.
All right. And Sister Dr. Rev in the building. Listen, this has been a long time coming. I've been following you sisters for a minute, right? And I remember when I first saw Sister Diva on it, I said, hold up now. Wait a second. She's tying this mitochondrial DNA in with the law, right? And the way you broke that thing down so exquisitely. Sister, I said, hold on. I had to adjust myself in my seat. I said, yeah, this is definitely going to be a memorable episode. And as for Sister Dr. Rev in the building, honey, she will slice you up. You got Virgo in you somewhere, honey, because no one could read the way you be reading with the intelligence and the knowledge and the metaphysics to back it. I know you pissing a lot of people off.
Oh yeah.
Welcome to the club.
Absolutely.
Welcome to the club, right? Welcome to the club. So we're about to get into it, ladies. Once again, thank you. No, so the topic tonight is about the fall and the rise of the matriarchs, right? And the reason why I named it that way is because we fell. And many have different reasons behind why we fell. But the hard truth, many of us don't want to face. We don't want to look at that. But before we get into that, I want to pose this question. The original role of the matriarch before patriarchy. What does that mean to you? What was that role? And how did we actually fall from that place? Who wants to go first?
I'll take
Go
it.
ahead.
Oh,
Go ahead. I know you will. Go ahead. Take that thing. Take that thing.
Maybe my mic ain't on. Go ahead.
It's on, baby. It's on. Go ahead.
No, Rev, you going?
I take it. Okay. So when we look at first, when we go back, because a lot of people think that the matriarch was more or less the opposite of the patriarch. So when we remove the concept of control, when we remove the concept of superiority, the matriarch was not polarized in that way. The polarization where we get the idea of there being an imbalance, that came to be as the divine feminine fell asleep. So before that point, everything was just, if you think of fifth dimensional thinking, the I am, the oneness with the universe, having the understanding that everything is everything, and you are me and I am her. That is the state that we were in. And now you have these traditions where the women of that time, where if you think of like the Black Sibyls, they passed down they were responsible for carrying the stories that come from the star system. So when we talk about Sirius, where we talk about all these different star systems, once they get involved, we were carriers of those stories. But because before the patriarch came into place, there was we weren't writing. Written language came to be just a few thousand years ago. So that is one of the constructs of the patriarch that induced this spell that bound the divine feminine and led us to where we are today. So before then, everything was just harmonized. Everything was frequency before the distortion, and we got to where we are today. So Miss Diva,
awesome. What you say about that, Sister Diva?
Well, one of the things in my research, so this is why I go deep into understanding what happened before the patriarchy took over. So what I found when I look at the matriarch is that you had the women who took care of everything within the village more so than the men, and they never got married. Now, I want to go back to this. I just got to go back a little bit further because some of us are not aware that women were procreating before the male existed. Now, and I got to say this because I want my brothers that might be watching to know this is not a bash against it, because a lot of them think about the matriarchy as going to control them or something that's against them, and that's not the case. All right. But when we're looking at the truth about what happened, there were women on the planet who were procreating before the male came into existence. I want to give two examples, the Amazon women and the Khalifa tribe. Okay, go and look those up. They were women tribes that procreated without men. Okay, so going back to that point and understanding that the female it was her job to do the work in the village. All right, all of the caring and the rearing or what have you. There was a village. And a lot of people don't understand what the village is. And when we look in nature, we see villages all over the place. All right. When I say nature, I don't like to call them animals because some of y'all don't understand that these beings, they give you clues as to what nature really is. All right. So a village, her mother, her sister, her cousins, her aunts, her nieces, her grandmother, her girlfriends. That was the village, the women, because they protected the child. And this is why people forget the term or the saying, it takes a village to raise a child. What happened to the village? That's where we came from, and we've forgotten about the village. And so I'm gonna wrap this up real quick, but in that village, the woman did not get married, and if she had the ability to sleep with whomever she wanted to sleep with, and there was no stipulations or no disrespecting her because of who she chose to sleep with. If she wanted him, then she'd be with him, and then if she got pregnant, it was the village that took care of the child. And sometimes he might be there or he might not, but his responsibility was to be with his family, not hers. Now, that's what I've found when I study matriarchs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, matriarchs, from what you're saying, was a system that was created by women that took care of pretty much everything. And as she do today, regardless of what they want to label it, she still does in a certain way, a fashion, or form. And it was her choice to do whatever which she wished to do, whether it was to have a husband or to remain single. But the key point that you made that I really wanted to hone in on was the village, right? How it was a camaraderie, right? It was a connection that everyone had to help be a part or contribute to the village society, whatever you want to call it. That was particularly led by women. Now, when I say matriarchy, for me, and I understand we always have to make this disclaimer for the brothers, right? To make you think, but it's the same thing how they feel, how white people feel about when black people rise. They feel that, oh, when they rise, they're going to do to us what we did to them.
But
right? Rightfully
so, though.
Right. Rightfully so.
Because that's the universal law.
But hold on now. But is it her nature? Right? Is it a woman's nature to want to oppress and to harness energy or to be patriarchal? Is that her nature?
Yes.
Is that what you're saying?
He gets it from her.
Oh, let's get into that. Hold on now. Hold on.
Okay, now.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about that. He gets patriarchy from her, you're saying?
He gets his mentality from her. You got to understand. See, listen, if we are gods, which we are, I think everybody in this room knows that we are gods and that, we have the power and we're creating things that come into this dimension. Then you can't claim to be a victim. And he comes from her. All right. So let's go into the second question that you asked. What is the betrayal? How did she fall into this position? The woman owned everything, all of the land, all of the knowledge, all of the wealth, anything dealing with anything, she owned it. We can still, to this day, the United States, the land that we know of as the United States of America, is still to this day in the name of the women. This is in documentation called the Iroquois Confederacy. All right, it's still here. It's in her name. It says it right there. So the point is, she ruled him, and she wasn't nice because he wasn't supposed to be able to read. He wasn't supposed to be able to know all the knowledge that he has. Remember, y'all know the masonry. Yeah. Okay, we break down the etymology of masonry. We get ma and we get son. Yeah. Ma for mother, son for the offspring of the mother. These are schools where she was teaching him the esoteric knowledge that was hidden that he wasn't never supposed to know. So she was disrespectful to him as well.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I could see that because women are disrespectful to men now. Women are disrespectful to a lot of their sons, and a lot of them grow up feeling scarred, or some women, not all women. So the thing is, not all. We can't say all for anything. Right. So my question is, the betrayal, are you saying came from her teaching him the knowledge, or did it come from other women turning on other women?
So, well, when I look at the energy coming from men, what I see, again, we're looking at universal law. we already know he was really a slave. He, you know, it's wanted to be made that, oh, the man was, you know, he was a helpmate, but he know that she created him to be a slave to her. He knows that he's not going to say it, just like the Albion is not going to say, oh, we came over here as slaves. No, they want to call it an indentured servant, when the truth is, no, y'all, the Albion here, they were slaves, full-fledged. Same way with men, they were full-fledged slaves. Again, as is before, as is after. Okay, because it's just a cycle.
Well, hold on. There's a lot. There's some things in between there that I think we need to tap into.
Okay.
Rev, what do you want to do? Would you like to say something to that before I say something?
I would just take it a step back, because that is a beautiful introduction to how patriarchy came to be, because it makes sense that it would kind of be revengeful. However, I spoke on this today on my TikTok, because I got the download that when we think of how things came to be, the matriarch, and we take a step back, of course, the love, I have a video on love being an illusion. The only love that exists is self-love. So all the religion, relationships, all of that absolutely are constructs of what I call the narcissistic system of patriarchy. So if we take that back, we are not looking at we're looking at a just a state of being. So we got the harmony here. So if we think from secular science, physics, we think of energy. Water in its highest state is vapor. So we think of that as the spirit, the essence, the cosmos. So once we start trickling that down, we turn that knob down and it starts to crack into the interdimensionality of physical space, creating the boundaries of the third dimension. Then that's when things start to become polarized. That's when you have the X breaks off into the Y chromosome. Now, initially, with the crown load I received is that there was just absolute harmony. There was respect, because religion was initially womb worship. So everyone acknowledged, divine femininity, the X factor, everything being passed down through the X. So once we started, when in water in solid matter, when it slows down, this is how the sleep starts. So when you start going under the knife and they give you that shot and they put you to sleep, it slows your molecules down. When the frequency is slowed all the way down, it becomes solid. So in that solid matter state, when she is completely condensified, when the melanin, the cosmic primordial water becomes densified in that state, then that's when it breeds these antimatter type traits. So that's when you get, once he starts to look at her as his oppressor, instead of seeing himself as being in harmony, just being a reflection, because the Bible again says that we were made in God's image. We were made in the image of the Creator. So that was out of respect. But once reality started shifting deeper into the third dimension and those molecules slowed down, then he said, well, wait a minute. You got direct access to the source. You got direct access to the cosmos. What about me? I ain't got no womb. And this is why I talk about masculinity being an illusion, because initially, when you look at the word masculine, you got Ma in the beginning. So it's all her. But then we lost, the respect was lost. So he became disconnected, which led to her becoming disconnected, because she became on a mission to try and rear him back in. And then that's where the competition and the polarity came in with, oh, okay, well, sis, no, I can watch this. I got him. Let me show you what I can do with him. So when we get to the whole concept of the jealousy and the betrayal, how we became disconnected, it was those molecules that are slowing down. Because remember, this whole time we just left we are transitioning from Pisces. Pisces is the dream state. So that's when all of this started coming to be. That's when they had the whole advantage of introducing the patriarchy. So it's interesting that war took place within the matriarchy first, that led to that transition to him wanting to disrespect her, because he became that disconnected from the source.
That's
Hold
beautiful.
on.
Can I
Let me
tap in?
say something. Hold
Okay.
on. What? Let me chime in if I could. Let me just chime in if I could, because I see both sides of the argument, but there's a big piece missing. Something happened to us in this realm, right? In the beginning, this was a divine feminine realm, right? And then there was
Right.
a split that took place,
That's what I
right?
want to talk about.
Some think that the split was self-generated, and some think that other outside influences, external forces came along in their ecliptic, who are master geneticists, and came here. When you start looking through your biblical terms, if you want to use scriptures or whatever they want to use to say, but bottom line is this: something happened and created division and disturbed the harmony and brought forth the mentality of master and slave. Okay.
May I
And
please?
whether it is biological or from outside beings that injected into this, because some say that the women that were here had both sexes. They were hermaphrodites, right? They carried both genes and the split was divided. Some say this realm was XX chromosomes, right? It was just all X's. Something genetically manipulated and severed a leg off of the X and then reprogrammed it with a instead of being harmony and balance, it became hierarchy, dominance, and control. Okay. Some say they were entered into certain blood oaths and contracts, as sister say here when she breaks down the contracts. I'm gonna let her go in a minute. The contracts was entered, right? That caused these divisions and split because some wanted to be a part of a hierarchy, right? They like that status, they like that order, for promises of power, right? And some broke off from the balance and harmony of the things that existed here. So I just want to present that before Sister Diva you went on, and also for people in the audience to get a broader scope of these things that we're talking about, because as you go deeper and deeper into finding out what happened on this realm, we didn't even get into women that were here that caused the division and split. Some say she generated it, and some say something outside caused it. So I'm gonna let you go ahead, Diva.
Ooh, I'm telling y'all hitting it today. I want to get off what Dr. Rev said, because Dr. Rev said something about love being an illusion, and then the X breaks off to the Y. So I really tell me if I'm going too deep, okay? Let me know if I go too deep on this. But I want to start off by saying this. When we're talking about the planet Earth, originally, according to my research, it was a spiritual plane whereby the energy was the feminine and the masculine. So the feminine always carries the masculine. She is both the feminine and the masculine when she has balance. All right. But when we got into these vessels, and we got to understand where these vessels came from. Now, there were, according to, now I'm gonna get into the Anunnaki a little bit, just to mention that, because some people
Go
are
ahead.
aware of Anunnaki. For those of y'all who want to research that, read the Book of Enki. Go and do some research on the Sumerian civilization. Okay, so now when these beings called the Anunnaki came to the planet, according to even or their scripture, there were other beings already on the planet. They were feminine beings. Okay, and so now you got this situation where these Anunnaki come in, but they need to create other beings of their own type. All right. So then the whole idea, and again, you can go and read the books, then it'll tell you about these beings that came in. And it's the reason why, I've read these books. One of the things I know is that they are in accordance with science. They're in accordance with historical documentation. So I don't just read that book. I go and vet it, everything in it that I can. Okay. So this book is saying that these beings wanted to create a human, what we know of as a human vessel today. Now, when they first created these beings, they had to have a female and then they had a male. Okay. Now y'all know about Adam and Eve. Everybody know, Adam, so-called Adam and Eve, these first beings that were created. Okay. They were not able to procreate originally, and you're going to find this when you go and read the Book of Enki. They weren't able to procreate, and what people are not understanding is why. Well, first of all, people don't even know they weren't able to procreate originally, and then the Anunnaki had to continue putting more and more DNA in them. This is why Adam and Eve became aware and start covering themselves up. And we're naked. Well, why? Because they had so much DNA. They became aware. Okay, so I'm trying to rush through this so we can get to the point of love being an illusion and where this Y chromosome comes from. So the issue is that they weren't able to procreate because when they first created Adam, he had all Y chromosomes. And Eve, of course, she had X and Y. But when they were mating, they were not procreating because of the simple fact that Adam had all Ys. You cannot produce a being with a Y sperm cell. It doesn't work. So then you got the Anunnaki. They got to come in and they got to manipulate some stuff. This is where that rib story comes about. And again, when you do your research, and you read the Book of Enki, you'll understand this. Okay, so then they create this this ability for them to procreate, and I go back to the yolk sac. So those of y'all who know science and you've done any research, I go deep into it, and we understand there's a yolk sac that comes into play, and it puts the mitochondria into a coma. Now, I'm going to stop it right there for that, but I want to go into this thing about the Y chromosome and how it came about, okay, or how it comes about. So people want to say there is a split between the feminine and the masculine, and I need to make this clear, and I don't want to diss my brother, but my brother is my sister. He is an inside-out female. Let's be clear of that. He is a female, and everything he has comes from her.
That was a bomb. I'm sorry. I had to drop that shit. Go ahead. My bad. That was a whole bomb. I had to drop that.
Everything he has comes from her, so there's nothing he has that she doesn't have. So when people, well, he got a penis, Dave. Oh, you mean his uterus? That's
clitoris.
He got scrotum. Oh, you mean his ovaries? All right, his testate, the prostate is a womb that's dysfunctional. All right, so let's understand what happens and why it happens. What you got to understand, when you're looking at a male, you're looking at a being that comes from a woman who was under duress. You can play that sound effect right there.
Hold on.
Go ahead, play. All right. So you're looking at
a duress.
What's that? Under duress. Either she's being beat up in a relationship, she's not liking her job, she's not eating right, mentally, emotionally, physically, she's not in balance. And when she doesn't have love for herself, that's this illusion of love where Dr. Reb was talking about. Love is about self-love. And if you don't have self-love, then you're going to create a being that the woman has degraded to, she's degraded that X chromosome to a Y. So can I show something real quick?
Go ahead, honey. Do it. Do your thing. You want me to put your thing up here? You got it, or how you want me to do it?
Yeah, here we go. Right here. And then I'm gonna
tell me when it's up there. I'll put it on the stage for you.
Turn it over.
It up.
All right, you ready? It's up.
I got you.
Yes. All right, so this is what we're looking at. The woman, as we know, has two X chromosomes. The male has an X and a Y chromosome. All right. Now, what we got to understand is that this Y chromosome is a derivative of an X. All beings, all the cells, the embryos, they start with two X's. And then this Y, this Y comes about because of a degradation because of the mental, emotional, physical state of the woman. Here's the deal. Let's understand what's happening, why he has so much power and physically, because when the mitochondria makes her decision, she's going to turn this X chromosome off in the woman, and then she's going to degrade him. Well, what's the difference? Well, see, he's got full access to these 100 chromosomes. She got 1,400 right here. He's got only 100, but he's tapped into his. She's not tapped into hers. But when she starts to tap into hers, well, then this thing comes back on. And this is when she develops balance. This is the masculine and the feminine right here. He's got masculine and feminine too. His Y tends to take over. But when she's balanced and she's got full access to both of these chromosomes, well, she's gonna be just as powerful, just as strong. But this is also, women, this is your X-Men powers. Your ability to speak without moving your lips, your ability to move heavy things, and your ability to do levitate and teleport and all these other things. That's your X-Men powers, but it's turned off because the woman has forgotten who she is. She doesn't have self-love. All right.
Go ahead. You said that? Yeah. Hold on, shit. Hold on, goddamn. Hold on.
What?
Woo!
What?
What you say about that, Rev? What you got, honey? Come on. This is phenomenal. This is amazing how you broke that down. So it seems like you're saying in so many words that when a woman produces, so it's been said, right, in biology that the man determines the sex. This is what they be saying, right? It's my seed. This is my seed.
There's no such thing.
What you just showed. I know. I always say, how you gonna determine the sex and all the eggs are female in the first place? You determine if your ass come through here. But from what you're saying is, it's how she feel about herself is what is being produced.
Yes.
And if she doesn't know herself completely, or if she's self-hating or self-degrading herself, then that X kind of morphs into a Y.
Yes, because what's happening is that a lot of the genes within the X chromosome are being taken away. As a matter of fact, that X chromosome has 1,400 genes in it. It's degraded to 100 genes.
Yeah. Right.
Now, if he's got that much power with 100 genes, imagine what happens when she taps into her 1,400 genes.
Is it safe to say she must have amnesia if you got all them genes? Well, we know patriarchy is a spell, religion mainly. But go ahead, Rev. I want you to go ahead and tap into this here. Go ahead, baby. Right, so you need the diagram still up, or are we good? Or
you can keep it up there because
okay.
One thing that I learned, my first two births were home births, so I did a lot of reading on this, and it makes perfect sense because they think of themselves as being the life force. They think that they carry the seeds of life. However, the womb is the one that accepts the DNA. So if she decides that she wants to procreate, if he has any amount of insufficient genetic data that she doesn't want to carry, and this is why they demonize Lilith. They call Lilith the mother of infertility.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not about infertility. You have insufficient genetic data that is not strong enough for her to procreate with. So therefore, she not only turns it off and makes it, she doesn't just have to turn it off and make it a Y. She can terminate it altogether. So even so the placenta, when the placenta comes in, when you have issues with your placenta, when you have issues while you're carrying the child, even after birth, they kept saying, watch out for preeclampsia. That is a result of him having the insufficient data. But then she decided she really wanted it because she decides she want to go along with the pregnancy. So then it causes complications for her because she's going against her nature, which is telling her, go cut it off, cut it at the source. So it's not about him carrying the seed of life. It's about him carrying, he has the key to her memory of her ability to procreate herself, because the sperm isn't necessarily the seed, it's the light, it's the spark, it's the electricity. Because what they do when you do artificial insemination and they put everything in that petri dish, they use that sperm to shock the egg. That's all that's happening. And then her memory is sparked, and she says, okay, let's go ahead and get this stuff. Let's get this thing going. Now, before we got to where we are now in the deep sleep, she was doing this from her bone marrow. That's why she was only producing girls. So yeah. So this whole frame, he started viewing her as being superior. This is not something. It's not something that she had to bestow upon him. That was part of when I talk about the molecules slowing down, that's like equivalent to when we talk about the calcification of the pineal gland. So once that start happening and you start becoming hollow, meaning you become more accessible to these external forces, if we want to take it intergalactically, before we even got the patriarchy and the narcissistic mindsets and the division, when they were still in harmony and he was still in honor, this is my mother, thank you for being here. There was this idea that they were one being. So once that started shifting, when I talk about polarization, then she created him. He needed a task. Just like we get here and we like, what am I here for? What's my purpose? And we go and we explore things and try and learn ourselves. She gave him the task to protect the gateway, which is the cosmic access to the womb. So if we are going to talk about someone actually coming in and distorting it from the outside, he was her law enforcement. Then when he became usurped, she was vulnerable. So now we are where we are today.
That's deep. There was a question in the chat. Someone said, how is the 1400 degraded to 100?
Okay.
In the chromosome.
So
yeah.
What happens is when first of all, let's understand this. The mitochondria, and thank you, Dr. Rev, because when we're talking about who was asleep, it was the mitochondria that was asleep. And so it's the sperm that comes in and awakens her. Now, let's understand, when we're talking about meiosis, that's what happens. Or she's coming out of meiosis and into mitosis. So when the sperm hits, now it goes into mitosis. But her state of dormancy, the mitochondrial state, that's not normal. That's not natural. So they'll tell you when you're talking about meiosis, that's not natural. Mitosis is natural, but meiosis is not. It's not natural for her to be asleep. And so when she comes out of that sleep, she's doing 2 checks. This is how we know that the Y sperm is the sperm rather. It always has to be an X. Her first check is this thing has the same number of genes, or first of all, same number of chromosomes, and then second of all, same number of genes in each chromosome. Those are the first 2 checks. If that thing is a Y chromosome, she's going to terminate whatever it is. This is why you can't get a dog to sleep with a cat and have a pregnancy. You can't get a horse to sleep with a zebra and have it. That's when man is tampered. Okay. So I'm just making it clear that the mitochondria, this is Mother Nature. She's the one who determines whether something comes in here or not. All right. So now when we're talking about the second check, because then she's put to sleep in this thing we call the yolk sac. After she goes into that yolk sac, the second check so the yolk sac, y'all know now, when Dr. Rev, how long they tell you before you can know the sex of a child? How long is it?
I think it's like, ain't it 12, 14 weeks?
2 to 3 months, yeah. 2 to 3 months. So once the yolk sac, this is when the yolk sac enters back into the vessel of the embryo. So once that happens, the mitochondria is doing the second check, because all hell is getting ready to break loose in that embryo. Why? Because the mitochondria is recognizing I have been tricked. This is not ordained by me, because normally she's going to keep those 2 X's fully. You know how Jesus, what they tell you? They told you Jesus was what they call him, a birth. It's a parthenogenic birth.
Immaculate conception.
Immaculate, because this means really that's supposed to be a girl, because the only way you're gonna have.
Yeah, honey, hold on, because it is a girl, but we ain't.
Okay, thank you. But we don't even. We can go into that on the show. We can go into that. But the only, if you have an immaculate conception, the only thing that thing could be is a female.
It's a female. So, you better hold on, damn it, hold on. There it is.
So
that's facts. That's facts, y'all.
Once the mitochondria recognizes that she's been tricked, all hell going to break loose, because now she's recognizing this feminine being did not have knowledge of self, because these are now she's checking. She's going to say, wait, are these even the same genes? She wants to know now because this is another check she's doing. And if it's not, now what she's ready to do is say, well, what is the state of the mother, or what is the spiritual essence that's coming into this vessel? And that's when she determines whether or not she's going to either turn that X chromosome off or turn it into a Y. That's where that comes from.
I say.
I hope I answered that.
Go ahead, Sister Rev. My mind is baking right now. It's cooking, but go ahead. Let me let it simmer a little bit because this is deep. This information, let me just say this. Let me plug this in right quick. You know, you ladies are bringing these dynamic perspectives, and there's some people in the chat that can handle it, and there's some people that cannot, right? Because of what's been instilled and conditioned and indoctrinated in them. So when some of these men in here never even looked at women, looked at their template. They only seen them as their servant or helpmate or out the rip. They're so traditioned and conditioned from the fairy tale. But if they ever delved into the science of her and noticed that she's all things, and then you are an inversion of her, you mirror her, you're the inside out of her. Okay. And that's quite apparent. But somehow this dominance and control and demanding, you can't fathom, your mind can't fathom, it can't expand enough to see how this thing is working out chemically, biologically, anatomy, physiology. You haven't even dissected it in that manner. So I commend you ladies for being the scientists that you are and done the research that you have to present this in a way, for me, it's quite digestible. It's not hard. It's not delusional. There's a brother that said delusional, and there's another Israelite in here that's about to get kicked out because you can tell they Israelites with they all caps and all these extra shit in their name about how she should be tricked and things of this nature. This is the mindset of it, but they're about to be out of here. My mods are in here. Whenever you see them, don't argue. Just delete and erase them. But the biology, I wanted to go back more into the biology, into how you tie it in with the contract. But before you do that, Sister Rev, go ahead and if you wanted to add anything to that before we move on to the next topic.
Yeah, well, just to bring about the reflection that we keep mentioning on the Y species, that I call them the Y species. Because what he's doing, what he's now designed to do is reflect. So the trauma, the imbalance that is in her womb shows up as him. So one of the things that, if we break down the word masculine, of course, we got Ma in the beginning because she's the origin. But you also have the school, Ma school line. So that tells you that the masculinity in and of itself is a university. So he sparks her memory all the way around, because had she not fallen asleep, she wouldn't need this chaos, because the chaos has to ensue before order, before she returns to her natural divine feminine or origin. So her maintaining that pregnancy and turning that off and deciding to just mutate it into the Y chromosome, that's her reflection. She is supposed to, anything that he gives to her, and this is even in not even thinking about the son, but the sons as in the Ma sons, the Masons, the relationships that she has, the dynamics that are in her family, or the love interest or whatever, are all just to remind her that self-love, again, taking it back to self-love, that this is a result, or this is reminding you to be authentic and true. This is reminding you to reconnect with your divine feminine source, which is that X chromosome.
I say. You know, there's a common question when brothers. Let me explain something to the brothers that's in here. We have to unlearn a lot of things that we've learned, because it's toxic and it's in reverse. A lot of things were taught to us in a reverse manner, and then you just look at the condition around you, and then you can tell how this whole thing has collapsed on us. Now, when we start talking about this, we're trying to awaken women, because at the end of the day, if women don't awaken, what do you think the earth is going to do? Right? Because if you think this shit up to y'all to fix, Well, look how you've been doing so far. And it's not really to take jabs at you, but it's really to take a look at your nature, right? Look at the nature. And I'm not just talking about black men, why all men, all the Y chromosome, just in period. Look at your nature. Something needs to be adjusted there, right? Something needs to be fixed. And then when we start speaking about matriarchal lineages and bloodlines and this whole realm, when we say matriarch, you're thinking women are going to, and like what sister said, rightfully so, we're going to be abusive and start pulling y'all by your hair out the cave and beating y'all over the head with clubs and shit like that. I don't necessarily think that's a woman's nature. Some women, maybe. I think patriarchal women, yes. But then you ask this question, well, what are men supposed to do then? Right? Like, damn, like you have no clue about your design, who you are, right? You're balanced, right? You're supposed to harmonize with the divine feminine, not dominate or control her or create a hierarchy over her. Now,
But
the sister said earlier, I'm gonna let you go. So I'm sorry. Sister said earlier when we were talking about external forces, people like no alien talk. Well, these aliens are really ancestors, right? These are people, and I say they started here, right? When we start doing deep dives at Anunnakis, Pleiadians, Syrians, or whatever, they all had their hand in the genetic mixing pot. So there's not one over the other. It's just that these particular ones, they started here, right? People think they're coming from somewhere else. What if they started in this realm and their rotation comes every 3,600 years? And in their 3,600 years, they're out there gallivanting, doing this, that, and the other. But to show when they say, oh, they're masters and they're gods, I always say they must not be that masterful and godly because they keep running out of shit. They keep running out of gold and they need the gold for their existence.
Mhm.
So the earth creates it naturally. This realm creates all the minerals and all the elements that are here. It never runs out of it. So if you're the gods and masters of the universe and Anunnaki coming back and this, that, and the other, and we the gods and they're gonna clean all of this stuff. Da, 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 da. Well, I disagree with 90% of all of that. If they do come back, because they're fighting too. You can see all the infighting that's going on all through all dimensional planes, all through the universes. It ain't just on this realm. It's this spiritual war is galactic, so to speak, right? So to come full circle back to the question when you asked, well, what are we supposed to do then? I was making the point that, well, if you were defending and protecting instead of trying to dominate and control, we may not be in this position, right? But the thing is, you want to take the role of the creatrix of the matrix and you make false matrices, you make false gods, false light, and you make everybody bow down to these deities that you created that can't do any that can't create, right? So you have to make believe, you have to create these things and make people bow down to it. Then you usurp power from others and then you make it seem like you're the divine one when in fact a lot of you caused a lot of the internal rifts that we have. So I'm going to go ahead and let sister Diva go ahead and continue.
All right. Okay. So the aliens. If you want to see one, look in the mirror. All right, because humans are we not some parts of what we are native to this planet, but then there are other things that are in DNA. Yeah, that are alien. Also, let's understand when we're talking about the Anunnaki, they are still here. They can't just take off and leave. They here not only physically, like where they are them, they're in the background, but they're here DNA wise because they put their DNA and everything on this planet. They still here. They can't just get up and leave. Not spiritually. All right. And physically, some of them still here. I want to talk about the nature of the male real quick because I want to get around to what the question that somebody asked. All right. So we have this mindset that men are supposed to protect and they're supposed to be rear of children. And let's understand what a Y chromosome is. And this is not Diva Laree saying it to my brothers in the section. I want you to know I love you. I respect you. Okay. So I need to tell you what science says a Y chromosome is. Science says a Y chromosome is a genetically modified, unnatural, parasitic chromosome. Unnatural. genetically modified, parasitic, and recessive chromosome. So what does recessive mean? Recessive means it's unnatural. It means it has a lifespan and it's going to eventually die out. Genetically modified means that it's not natural, that something purposely created it. It wasn't something that just came about just because, no, something made that happen. And then when we're talking about genetically modified beings, let's understand what a genetically modified being does. We name a genetically modified, what you got, Dr. Reverend? You got corn. We got, you got another one for me?
Pretty much everything out there, because you know carrots used to be black.
Okay, the African, let's talk about this. African killer bees. All right. Even when we talk about light skin, we're talking about a GMO, light skin. All right. And so let's understand what is the nature and characteristic traits of those three entities. Well, what they're going to do is try to take over that which created it. That's what African killer bees do. They seek the honey, the real honeybees out, and they kill them off. That's what genetically modified corn does. When it finds a field and a field is next to it and the seeds blow into that, it's going to turn that corn into GMO corn too. And when we're talking about your albion, so-called white people, what is in their nature? So people are saying that men is their nature to protect, when no, it's not. Their nature is to take over that which created it. That's the nature of a GMO being, period and point blank. There ain't no, oh, we gonna be friends. No, if it's in your vicinity, its purpose, the nature is to take over that which created it. And then when we're talking about a parasite, which a Y chromosome is a parasitic gene, because it has to depend on the X. It has to. It can't survive without an X. It can't survive. So what is the nature of a parasite? Well, a parasite's nature is to make the host think that it can't live without the parasite. That's what a parasite does. So when we're talking about the nature of a Y chromosome, we're not understanding his true nature. It's not to protect, to rear, and to be a provider. No, it is to take over that which created it. And that's the problem that we're not understanding now.
Hold on. That's concerning. Okay, I have to be real. That shit's concerning. Their nature is to take over the whole, is parasitic. Wow. Damn.
I didn't make it up.
I'm single. I mean, shit. That's deep. That's, damn. So how, okay. Fuck. How do we, what do we do with that? Like,
hey, look
what do we do with it?
Is it different? I'm asking you. I just told you a genetically modified parasitic gene. Do they not behave like those things? I'm asking you. You got to be honest. If you're not going to be honest,
listen. I ain't got a damn problem about being honest. I'm going to say, yeah, but it's shocking. No, you're right. Listen, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm just like, damn, what do we do with that? Like, how are we supposed to? What are we supposed to do with that?
You gotta respect their nature.
We need a dewormer.
No, don't try to change them. Change you.
Right.
It's not about changing them. The problem is that women are expecting men to do something that's not in their nature.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question. The next question is this: if their nature is to be parasitic, then what uses do women do with men?
Okay, so now we understand when we're talking about that Y chromosome, its purpose is to spread seed. And here's the problem: women get in under this notion that he's a good man and he's gonna be a provider. They're not respecting who he is. And I've said this before. Women think he comes across the street. If a man is across the street and he's coming over across the street to meet you, They think, oh, she's a kind woman and can be a good wife. And he's not thinking about that. He has sexed you in his head 3 times before he made his way across the street. His job is to plant seeds. That's his job, and it's not a difference.
That's it.
Don't call him all these negative terms. Don't hate on him. Respect his nature.
Yeah. You know what? Shit. Well, there you have it. Thank y'all for joining us tonight. No, I'm just joking. No, that's, you know what? Because that's something that really delve into that, because when you put it that way, right? And then, women start looking at their relationships, and they look at their relations personally that they had, and their mother had, and their dad, all the way to the first mothers, and this constant battle that we have. And it is a program. You're supposed to protect us and keep us shielded, and they like never do, right? So, and it makes you wonder, like, well, damn, why are we always telling you to do this shit and you really never do the shit? So then it makes you have to look at you, right? What you're saying, well, then what do I need from him? What can I utilize this being for? Because you were saying that love, you broke down love earlier, and it's like, so there's a time we didn't even need them to procreate, and I still think we still have that ability if we change our diets and separate in a certain way. Now, I'm not promoting all women separate from men, women over here, men over there. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is this. What I do notice, though, when some women do separate from men, after being with them for long periods of time, they start to get healthier. They become wealthier. They become happier, right? And so it's something to really take a look at and wonder what's going on. And from a lot of clients that I did have that have been in marriages for 40, 50 years, they can't wait for them to leave the planet, or they're trying to figure out a way to get out the marriage. And it's like alarming. And so we've been institutionalized to think, women, you need to get married, right? You have to have a good husband and things of these natures. So we have all of these programs in us, but when you start looking at this thing from a natural standpoint, their natures and our nature, how do we rectify this? How do we fix this?
Real quick, and then I'm gonna pass. But listen, we talk about thinking that
for real,
the men, women, or the men are supposed to protect. All right. So here's the question: in nature, who's the one that is going to put their life on the line for the child? Who is the only one?
The mother, and if they got a dog, the dog too. But go ahead.
Okay. Who is the one that makes sure that child gets fed?
The mother.
Yeah.
Who is the one that rears it and makes sure it knows right from wrong?
Mama.
So if it's done in nature, why do we keep doing the opposite and expecting him to do something that he don't do in nature? He didn't do it in biblical times. He doesn't do it now. He didn't do it in ancient times. At what point do women recognize that the problem is you? Because you keep expecting him to do something that's not in his nature.
You keep playing the game.
All right, I'm passing.
Nah, but it ties into what I teach about them being narcissistic by nature, because if we look at narcissism as being a demon, that is literally, if you think of the movie Sinners, that as recent as we can go, that is the vampiric nature of them. If you think of their anatomy, they are constantly trying to plug into the source and usurp the energy. So the Y chromosome being the furthest disconnection from what we know of as God, that would breed narcissism. Because if you think of a demon, the demon always needs a host. That's that parasite you're talking about. So not even on a genetic level, but on a spiritual level, these are literally anti-material entities that we're talking about. So I teach, I mean, it's uncomfortable because we are so heavily sedated with the idea of marriage by way of religion. It's a religious patriarchal construct
Yes,
that is
ma'am.
narcissistic because women are associating their value in motherhood, in wifery. Like we are associating so much of our value with external validation, most particularly from men. So when that narcissist sees that vulnerability and they see you as that sort, like, okay, that parasitic nature comes online, and then they come in to show you in your karma. Now, if we go back to the word alien, if you look at the word alien, you get a lean. So we are contractually obligated to serve our purposes within the masculine realm. So what are you here to learn from these experiences that you're having? Because the ultimate answer, the only answer I can give women is to decenter. Like, that's the only answer
Or
I can
be
give you.
women centered. Put yourself first. Right.
Right. That's
Absolutely.
part of the decentralization, because instead of your world revolving around the validation that you were seeking from them, you have to get that from within.
I say, yo.
Can I speak on?
Go
Oh, wait.
ahead, honey. You go.
Because she hit it. She hit the nail on the head. When you're talking about religion, so what people don't understand is all religions are patriarchal. Now,
All
when
of
we're
them.
talking
Absolutely.
about the Bible, let's understand that the Bible is a canonized version of the scriptures written by women. The original scriptures came into play in 325 AD, but the scriptures, the original Bible rather, came in 325 AD, but the scriptures go on so old they can't be
Right.
dated. Well, who wrote them?
Right.
Sisters
It's
and
two different,
oracles.
these are two
Why we
different
don't-
things.
Yeah, why we
Yeah.
don't know that. But then he takes her scriptures and writes her out of her own stories. And this is the problem women don't understand.
That's the
So
truth.
when you're talking about all your major religions, Christianity, Buddhism, Islam, all those are patriarchal constructs by the melanated male. This is what people get so upset about.
No, you hold on.
Yeah,
You're right.
yeah.
Those, your doctrines, your organized doctrines, your Bibles, your Qurans, your Torahs
So
are documentations of the removal of the divine feminine.
Yep.
right.
Right.
So,
Go ahead.
so now when you start talking about, we talk about how women went into slavery to the male, and she doesn't want to recognize it because she's now glorifying this thing where the father is giving the daughter away. That's madness. That's madness.
Yes, psycho, honey. I was talking about that yesterday. Go ahead. Woo! You saying it? But hold
So-
on. Let me. Go ahead. Finish your point because I want to. Damn, where's that question
I
at?
just want to
Finish your
break down
point.
the etymology. Let's break down
Yes.
how we can see this from an etymological standpoint. All right.
Yes,
When
ma'am.
we're talking about marriage, all right, she has a husband, right? What is a husband etymologically? A manager of farm animals.
Yeah.
Yeah, husbandry. Yes.
See, this is why there is a marriage certificate
Mm.
whereby it's showing she is his property, which is why she takes on his
Yeah.
last name.
Name,
and
girl.
his property. Now, let's understand this.
Yes, ma'am.
He's managing farm animals, but then they have a family. If you look up the etymology, and I'm not talking about the definition because those of y'all have to understand the origins of these terms and every
Hold on,
day
let me get my etymology because I'm not
It
as bright as
means-
y'all.
slaves and servants. That's what family means. So now she gives birth to children. He's got a family or slaves and servants.
This whole shit rigged, basically.
Let's understand the contract is there so that they can do commerce. He can do commerce with her across state lines. Well, what is commerce? You look up commerce originally, it would have the word sex there. Now when you look it up, it's intercourse.
Hold on, let me share this because folks don't. You saying something that is very It was triggering me the other day. Somebody commented on one of my videos, and I was talking. I don't know what I was talking about, but they were like, "You not for the family, right? You against the family, this and that and the other." And I was like, "Family, nations, all of this shit that these people throw at you, this is like to put you back into submission. But I want to share this, right? Because this right here was I want to share this because this is real. And I just looked this up. Tell me if you could see this, right? The etymology. I looked up the etymology of family. Early 15th century, servants of a household. From Latin familia, family, servants, domestics, collectively, the servants in a household, thus also members of a household, but estate, property, child, slave.
Yeah, she doesn't recognize that she went into slavery with this thing called a marriage. And originally she was with the village. And the problem is that when she moved away from the village, she went with a being that's not there. Well, he took away her ability to tap into family. Now you got to understand, again, this is, let me say this, and I know my brothers, because all brothers are not like this, but y'all need to understand that a male is a predatorial being.
That well,
A predatorial being.
they
And
they admit that.
and when you go and look in, who are committing these crimes against women and children, the vast majority of them, when we're talking about vast, I'm saying 85% and more are males. When we're talking about a child being molested, all right, or ate, graped, or whatever, the vast majority, more than 75% of them, are people that the child
Live in the
knew.
house. Yeah, or live in the house with
Yeah,
them.
live in the house. A mother, excuse me, a father, a living
Brother.
friend, an uncle, a
Yeah,
cousin.
all that.
That's where it comes from. And these are more than 75% are males, more than 85% rather are males. But here's, the thing is, we're not recognizing, once again, what is his nature, because was he supposed to be there in the first place? No, she's supposed to be with the village.
True. See, now there you go. That makes sense.
Okay.
That
So,
really makes sense. That's how you protect. That's the. This is
it's
the
village.
protection. It's the
Yeah.
village. Damn. You only come together to do your thing, and they're going over
Yeah,
there to continue.
that's how it's done in nature. Ain't no such
Right,
thing as no
right.
mother bear, papa bear,
I
baby
don't
bear.
unless you a
You know,
dove.
I did
True.
a whole video on the father. If you look at the word father, you not anytime you incorporate father, you talking about farther. It's not farther, it's farther. So it takes you further away from the source, which is you. So absolutely.
Wait, listen, hold on. Let me take a couple seconds here. How y'all feeling in the chat? How y'all feeling about this? How y'all feeling? What's going on? What's
Yeah,
as
you
you
own
are
it.
listening to these sisters break this thing down? Like you blew me with the etymology with family because they always throwing that at you. You're not for the family, and a woman's supposed to be taking care of the family, and da, 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 and your job is the mother, and I'm to do this, and da, 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 da. So when you hear these words are spells, right? They keep casting on us, they keep putting us in a certain mindset and conditioning that we feel that this is our duty, right? So is this actually affecting these chromosomes the way that you're saying? These X chromosomes and these Y, I mean, it's like a constant battering. Now, when we get on here, we always got to make these disclaimers, right? Oh, brother, we're not talking about you. Oh, look at this moon. We're not talking about this and that and the other, but damn, I think we all talk about y'all because it's like, honestly, until we get to the root of the problem, right, of our existence and how we can coexist, we're going to have to accept each other's nature, right?
Right.
And we have been, our nature has been inverted in a way, and we're trying to make something work that's not working. Somebody talk about how one of these conscious community people ain't gonna like this conversation because this is what they promote, and they're very sexist. And I'm not even gonna mention their name, but this is the thing: you have certain gatekeepers, and they're in certain positions to make sure we stay underneath this umbrella or underneath this paradigm that's crumbling and ending. So you're seeing a lot of women come into themselves, right? And it seems to be a threat to certain men. They feel a certain kind of way, right? But basically, the cycle is ending, right? We're witnessing the ending of this particular cycle, and we're moving into another cycle, and things will never be the way that they were before. So, what do we do? Some of the sisters are listening now, right? And it's so funny how the I don't want to say division. It's like what do you call that? When it's two opposing viewpoints, how women we always can relate to certain things and men just don't understand, right? They just don't get why we feel how we feel. And it seems like there's this disconnect from our natures because we were programmed to be a certain way. Now, what do we do? How do we move from this? How do we rise to our rightful or our natural places? I don't want to say rightful place, our natural place, man, in this realm, because you can see there's so much chaos going on. There's so much disturbances. It's like that pimple is coming to the head and it's about to bust, and things need to burst so the healing process can begin. And I like talking about solutions. I like talking about how we can work this thing out if there's a way to work it out, because neither side seem like they want to budge, right? Men don't want to give up their throne of power and authority. And I don't think necessarily women want your power and authority. We just want to get from up under y'all, right? We
Yeah.
just want to get from underneath this oppressive system. And many feel that I notice with a lot of black men, they okay with the system. They just want to take the place of who's the face of the system, right? They don't have a problem with the way the system is. Many will argue, no, the system is it's who's running it. It's the problem. But the system is adverse to anything that has to do with divine feminine energy. So yeah, this was pretty intense. I want to move on about if
Wait,
there can be an evolution of the
you asked the
relationship.
question. Did you ask the question?
What was the question? Yeah, I'll be running my mouth. Go ahead, remind me, because y'all got me like, I'm telling you, my mind is like, I'm
You
gonna be
said,
up all night think about this shit. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
what's the solution? Okay,
What's the
let me say
solution? Yeah.
this. Okay, you first of all, I see that there is a fight. And the matriarchy is not about a fight. It should not be about a fight. That's the feminism. There's a difference. So what am I
Right.
saying? When you stand in your place, then he doesn't have a choice but to respect what you have said. That's the problem. You keep trying to fight him. Ain't no fight. All this about my baby daddy. Ain't no baby daddy if you say no.
Yeah.
You as the woman, you are controlling it. Remember, I told you he ran across the street. He risking his life because he want to spread seed. You're the one with the power. So the problem is that we too busy trying to diss him and be mad at him. Respect who he is, because when you respect yourself, he's going to respect you. He don't have a choice. If
Right.
you look, I don't, it's good to hang out with you or whatever, and you take time before you let him spread seed in you. See, the problem is the woman is too quick to think, oh, I need a man. She doesn't know her own power. And it's not to say, oh, I don't need no man. And listen, I got a lot of great men in my life. Don't have sex with none of them, because divas are none, and nuns don't get none. That's how I feel about it. That's my spiritual walk, okay?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. I hear you.
So, but I love all of them, all of my brothers. They help me in whatever way I need them. I pay them, and they do what I need them to do, and then they go on their way. I love my brother. I love them. You got to respect who they are, and you got to respect that they got a Y chromosome, and that Y chromosome has a nature, and the nature of that Y chromosome is to try to take over everything. That's what they do. Well, you got to put them in their place.
Right.
And it's not being disrespectful, but
Right.
I'm gonna give you this much leeway, and then that's all I'm gonna give you. All right, so it's not about him saying, I don't matter. And it's not about women being disrespectful to him. That's the last thing you want to do. We already did that. That's why we got here.
Right.
And do you want to make sure we stay on a higher vibratory frequency? You don't have to fight him. You don't have to call him names. You need to stand in your place and know your power. And when you do that, he does not have a choice but to respect you.
Ashe. Now that's a great point. I don't know if you want to add something to that, Sister Rev.
Yeah, I was just as far as solutions go, I think people are caught on wanting the instant gratification. Like, okay, we know about the divine feminine and the matriarch. Come on, let's get stuff popping. But we have to understand that 90% of the genetic data of the Y chromosome has been lost over time. The Y chromosome continues to degenerate. So what is happening is being reabsorbed into the X, and his divine femininity is coming online. So when we talk about gender wars, the real war is happening internally with him. So until he understands how to reconnect with his creator, with the image that he was made through, then he's going to continue to stumble and fall, and then she's going to continue on her path because she is birthing it through her need for that validation, for her lack of the love for herself. So the whole purpose of decentralization is not, the men think is, man hating, man bashing, like you said earlier. They think it's about oppressing them or coming to take over. Is none of that. It's demanding our respect. Because if I stop giving you access to your power source, because the wife isn't just the wife, she's the Wi-Fi. She's his
Okay.
connection port. So if I stop letting you connect to my system, you're not like Sister Diva said, you're not gonna have a choice. But women have to have the willpower and the strength to do that.
Right. That's where it starts though with the woman. See,
Yeah.
I get it. That's why my whole issue is never to bash the brother, because I know where he comes from. He comes from a woman. And then my question becomes, how do I get to my little sister before she allows herself to bring such a being that's disrespectful into this place? Because you got to understand, women control the numbers of beings on this planet. And it's not, you don't even have to fight him. When the woman starts loving herself, he doesn't show up. This is why he don't want you to know that you are the one who's controlling the sex of that child. Because when you have love, the only thing you can give birth to is a female. That's it. You don't have to fight, no hate, no nothing, no wars, no nothing. Love yourself and make sure that every woman you come in contact, you show her love and she loves herself. He doesn't come into this dimension. You can make him disappear when you know who you are. Let's be clear on that. And there is no fight. There is no, I demand my respect. You don't have a choice but to give it to me because I said so. That's it. There's no fight. I got the problem.
True.
That's how I don't have, quote unquote narcissist people coming up, because they know better. It's already been set. The only energy I'm putting out is respect to them, and the only thing they can give me is respect. So if you're getting this kind of energy coming to you, you got to check self. And then when we get into low self, then she can make him disappear. And I mean it. Let my sister get it.
A lot of some of the issues that is conflicting with women is by making the male the center of everything and losing herself in that dynamic. Yeah. And one of the solutions I feel is her knowing herself, and not just physically, but chemically, spiritually, right? She has to know who she was long before. Many women don't even realize that they predate these doctrines, right? Some of them are so embedded under the spell, and then they married, or they have a lot of males around them to keep them submissive onto that particular doctrine. So they don't know, they're totally lost. And they're going to psychologists and therapists and all of these different beings to try to help them cope with what's going on. And they have been denying their nature, right? Denying who they are. Someone asked in the chat, well, who raises the boys, right? Men raise boys. And if you really, if it was, after a certain age, so back in way back when times when women did have boys, after they were 12, when they started reaching puberty, they were to leave to go be raised with the men, right? In the rites of passage. Because there are things that they can teach them that they need to learn about their nature. Because women, I think boys who stay under women far too long may not understand their nature totally as well. And they become, there is a syndrome where women are trying to make their sons their husbands,
Yeah.
right? And mess
Emotional
with them
incest.
psychologically. So there are men who grow up, they can't, how can I say, they can't decipher the difference on how they deal with their mothers and how they deal with their women, right? So that creates another dynamic of this, all these mounds and mounds of psychological issues that we go through. It's relationships, because we're being taught how we supposed to deal with this one. We're being taught how we supposed to deal with that one, and it's not helping us. It's year after year, generation after generation. We're still having these same issues, but yet and still, instead of looking at it by saying, "Well, it's my nature to be like this and my nature to be like that," we talk about what the Bible say. We talk about, well, society says, right? And not realizing that this whole system is inverted, is inversion. So to the women out there who's hearing this conversation for the first time, it's about you really knowing who you are and stop denying yourself. Because innately, many of us know, right? We have a mind, a woman's mind and her intuition is sharp. She innately knows, she just doesn't follow her mind. Right.
Mhm.
She doesn't follow her first mind. Like a certain brother come around, she knows the type of energy he's carrying. Her mind say, not that one. But yet and still she goes and deals with that one. And then she winds up in certain circumstances trying to change or manipulate that male that she's with. Or that male tries to gaslight or manipulate her. Right. So this is all this psychological war going on between both sides because both sides are under a spell. Now, if a man accepts his nature, right, that he's what you said, parasitic, a predator, damn, he need to be in the jungle then. Um, I'm saying, like, think of when you put it that way, but I see what you mean, what you're saying, but it's like, whoa, that's kind of dangerous, though. It's dangerous for that type of energy to be
Yeah.
around women and children.
Well, the statistics have been telling you that, though. They've been telling you when you're talking about those who the violence against women and children, 85, more than 85%. It doesn't matter what color you are, what planet you are on, what 85, more than 85% are males. When you're talking about raping, more than 85% of the perpetrators are male. When you're talking about violent crimes, or whether you're talking about maze, I'm using the code because I don't want nobody to get cut off. But when you're talking about all of these things, more than 85% of the perpetrators are males. So again, we're not respecting the nature of these beings. Because when you look in nature, for example, I talked about bears. Bears know full well, okay, I'm going to have sex with him, but he's going to have to get on because when I had this baby, I don't want him around. Why? Because he's dangerous. I know he can wake up in the middle of the night and eat the baby for a snack. I know his nature. I respect it. I'm going to have sex with him because that's what he's here for, and then I'm going to send him off. That's nature. That's what they do in nature. Meanwhile, humans not intelligent enough to recognize they want to shack up with this being that, as you said, is dangerous. It's not a disrespect, but brothers know who they are and how they are.
Wow.
And the statistics
Yeah,
don't
that's
lie.
real talk.
Brothers
That's real talk.
say
No,
that numbers don't lie. The numbers are telling you.
that's real talk. That's real talk. Honey, it ain't all about the white man. We got to stop blaming the white
Yeah,
man,
please.
right?
I mean,
The white man colonized the whole world and the white women too. Who made them?
yeah.
They only 6,000 years old. They ain't been here the whole
Right.
time.
They ain't been around for millions of years. We've been
That
dealing with this shit for a
geographics said
minute.
that.
And then talk about the fact that it was melanated people that brought them into this land as Americas as slaves.
Well,
Not even talking about that.
yeah. No, it's
Right.
right. So
Yeah.
it's right. We romanticize our history, and we played a victim for too long, and we're not taking accountability for the role we played in our own mess. And this is kind of what this conversation is about. We have to look. We got to stop blaming white people for everything. That's a scapegoat, right?
Yeah.
Because when you really get down to it, who created them? We did. We did
Right.
all of this shit. We are responsible for everything that you see in existence. And until we start looking at that right in the face, and then this is where healing begins. Everyone talk about doing your shadow work and you shadow this and you shadow that. Well, honey, you better look at the shadow. This is the shadow. How did y'all get in this position? What did y'all do? Right? What did we do? What did we do? Because like the sinners, right? You gotta invite the vampire in.
Right.
That vampire gonna stand at the door. It's gonna be like, what y'all doing up in there? Somebody gotta say, come on in. Somebody invited the white man, the white woman in. Somebody went and created and spliced and genetically modified and made these different beings as the male species too,
Yep.
right? So we got to take a good look. Like, damn, we might need to say we fucked up somewhere. Like
Hey,
we fucked up. We have to.
look, if you know the Y chromosome is a GMO, you know light skin is the GMO. Where are your original people at? Who are they?
Mm.
What did I just say? Where they at? Who are they? Talk to me now. We know light skin is a GMO. We know Y chromosome is a GMO. Who are your original people?
We black, the
Yeah.
so and so quote unquote black.
Melanated women's.
So let's talk about that, right? Because I went into a deep dive with that a couple weeks ago about the role women played in their own fall, right? And so when I was asking about, well, who made the Anunnaki? I was talking to my AI. So let's just put it out there. I was talking to my AI, like, well, shit. If women were on the whole realm, right? We're talking about Tiamat. Well, who are these external forces and this and that and the other? Basically your own children, right? There's a brother out here talking about the loving mother and the devouring mother, right? And he breaks down the two sides of I guess the nature of the matrix of the womb of women, right? You have one that produces and creates, and the other one that devours. Um, I see where he's going with that. I see what he says, but if women were here first, and so where these external forces come from? Well, obviously, she made them. These are her children. But at the same time, um, like you have, if someone has children, you try to raise them the best you can. But then you have some children that go rogue, right? You got some children that break off and do other things. And then when they return back, they don't come back as the prodigal son or daughter. Some of them come back to take your throne, right? Some of them come back to overthrow you, right? And so these are the same thing. We may have started and created these things, but the intention for them to turn on you, was that always there?
Yeah, because
How
they are
so?
a reflection. They
Mm.
only thing. First of all, I've seen mothers who've gotten it bad from their children. And then when I go back and I ask, because I have a conversation and we're gonna have a consultation on what really happened. The mother was dirty as can be to the child when the child was younger. It's this, the dynamics between them is not just something that just happened because the child was whatever they were. It happened at a young age. So first of all, even before, remember I talked about this. The child in the womb sees everything that the mother sees, feels, and hears. So whatever that, before the child is even born, the child is cognizant of the mother and everything that went on with the mother. Then when the child is born, you have situations where mothers are putting out certain energies to their child, and whatever energies they put out, they got to return. That's the law. I'm just speaking on universal law. So when I see a child doing these things and being disrespectful to the mother, I know that the mother did some dirt. So the same way when I see men being disrespectful or doing whatever they do, then that is a reflection. It's everything in our third dimension is a reflection of us on the inside. So that's why I continuously say, when you clean up you, everything on the outside doesn't have a choice but to clean up and come into agreement with what you have said.
Yep.
Mm.
It integrates with you. Yep.
Mm. So we're all mirrors. Well, everyone is looking at their mirror.
Everyone. That's why
We
you've got to check self. Yeah, that's the problem because we want to be victims. We want to say, "Oh, the men ain't no good," and the men ain't. And the deal is, if you're getting that kind of man constantly coming into your third dimension, you got to check you. How am I
Right.
drawing?
Right. That part.
Right.
Yeah. Shit.
Okay, because I love all the men I deal with. I got them in my class. I deal with them in business. I deal with them in chiropractor. I love them. All right, but I respect who they are.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem. We haven't been doing that, and we're not recognizing that if you're getting this kind of person, it's you.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You haven't learned.
You haven't fulfilled that
It's
contract.
karmic. Right. The contract, the soul contract. Your
Yep.
karmics is the who
Yep.
calls
That
them that?
karmic debt.
Mm, mm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, we're all here dealing with karma. We're all here dealing with this situation and these relationships. Whether, however, you're dealing with it, it's I guess when we're talking about the solution that you're saying, it's just accepting each one's nature, right? So when you talk about there's some men who are polygamous, right? And there's one for women who have many husbands. What's that? What's the androgynous
Polyamory.
polyamory, right? So, but some men can't handle that, right? But they expect women to be at their disposal. But as sister says, it's on her. She has to stand her ground and in her power. I totally, totally relate to that. I totally relate to that. Man, every time I get these shows with these powerful sisters, man, I get my wig split. Okay. Straight up, split, thrown back. Look, I just don't. Let me go to the chat. Let me go to the chat now. How y'all feeling about the show? How you feeling about the information? Do y'all have any questions? Do you so we got to I guess we got to the solution, we got to the problem. Basically it's us.
You gotta check.
We the problem and we the solution.
Yeah, you are the God. Everything came from you, and you
I
keep.
say
We want to be the victim, but you can't be a God and a victim at the same time.
at
You
the
be
same
one
time.
or the other.
Let me get the bomb. That's true. That's pick one. Goddamn.
Yeah,
Pick one. Pick a
when you
side.
stand in your place as a God, everything else has to come into order.
I say. I say. Stand your ground, honey. Y'all better get y'all some pit bulls, some guns, and some bullets. Because when this shit go, when I'm telling you, when women say no, right, after men are used to them saying yes, right, for
Mm-hmm.
centuries, millennia, or whatever the case may be, and we start saying no, then they're gonna hit you with, oh, you're a feminist, right?
Yeah.
You a lesbian, you a dyke, you this and that. All of these you a witch, you this and that and the other. You all this stuff, right? They're gonna have fits, they're gonna have tantrums,
Mm-hmm.
right? Because they couldn't have their way no more after all of these billions of years that they've had. And now they're gonna say, well, shit, you made us.
What's a
We
bitch?
just a reflection of you.
What's a bitch?
A badass chick, if you ask
Yeah,
me.
being in total control of herself.
Badass. Hello. Don't
Being
let me
in
get the shirt. Don't
control
let me get the shirt.
of herself. Yeah, they calling you that because you don't do what they want you to do anymore.
Man,
That's
true.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
You just
Yeah, they
told me.
gonna be having a mantra. So this is what. So maybe this is why we had the Amazons, right? We had these warrior women, right? That these was the women at the gates, basically. These sisters here did not play. The Amazonian, the Libyan Amazons, the Amazons that were even over here on this realm, on this side of the world too. And these are the women that women are so masculine. Some of you black women, y'all just masculine. Y'all don't know how to be feminine. Y'all don't need to be doing all of this stuff. And it's her, and also that's the feminine masculine prototype or the stereotype of a woman. She's supposed to be made to look voluptuous. Long as she could make you have an arousal, that's what you consider a divine feminine, right? But women come in all prototypes, all archetypes of different women that you have. And it's time for women, you should embrace who you are and walk in your divine power. And yes, I think we're going to need a massive amount of protection because women are waking up in droves. But so what do you think about the men listening to this show, hearing this information, right? What do you think their response to be? Are they going to, someone put in the chat, a man recognizes his nature, but a woman doesn't. But that's kind of one-sided because the whole system caters to his nature.
But you're still in the fight. Don't just listen.
Right.
You the one who in control. Don't whatever he says, you got to understand. He just like any other being wants to survive. All right. So you got to understand if we're sitting here saying that you really don't need a man and that we've been made to think we need a man, he's going to feel like, well what about me?
They saying it now.
Yeah.
They saying that shit now.
You can't blame him. You can't blame him for feeling that way. You gotta
Right.
understand. You stand in his position. You let us stand in his position. And somebody say, you a woman, we got wounds over here, we don't need you. That we're not gonna appreciate that. So the problem is he doesn't know who he is because he's been lied to, and the woman doesn't know who she is. You gotta just don't stop thinking about him. Just think about you. Fix you, because we don't need to put him down to uplift ourselves.
Right.
And that's what we have a tendency to do as women. Don't put him down. You gotta respect what he's going through too. He got feelings. He's feeling like, well, damn, why you don't need what we supposed to do? Then if you don't need what you supposed to spread.
What are we supposed to do? Like, cause we trying to figure us out, and now they gonna feel left out.
Okay.
So how do we move on from here?
I'm gonna tell you who I feel like. Like I told you, for me, I don't even get into that because I'm on a spiritual journey. But you know who I think does it the best when it comes to relationships with males? The so-called what they call a cougar. The cougar. You know why I think the cougar does it best? Because the cougar got her own house, she got her own car, she got her own money, she doing her thing. When she wants to get with him, she gonna say, hey baby, oh look, I want you to come over tonight.
Girl, I'm cougar age now, honey. I'm cougar age.
I want you to cut the grass, and then
he gonna do it.
Yeah, he gonna do it. I'm gonna have some dinner.
I always say, honey, them young boys.
I'm gonna have a bath waiting for you, and then we're gonna have some fun. We're gonna enjoy each other, and then in the morning you gotta get out.
Go about your business. Go about your business.
He gets to do what he came to do. That's spread the seed, and the cougar gets what she wants from him, and everybody's happy. She got peace. He got peace.
Even exchange.
That's the
Put a one in the chat if you a cougar. Put a one in the chat if you a cougar. Put a one in the chat. All the cougars, come on here. Put the one in the chat for the cougars. I'm about to be a whole cougar out here. Listen, because you're right. You're right. Because I ain't gonna tell too much about my business. I ain't gonna put my business in the streets.
No drama.
I was watching some show, and it was saying something similar to that. The best relationship a woman could have is with a younger male, right? Mm-hmm. Not no pet. Now we ain't talking no babies. Now y'all don't get there. But it was like, and I totally got that, right? Because you're right. She's in control of whatever she has. And she don't need no daddy. Ain't nobody, no daddy coming over here telling her what she need to be, how she need to be. And, like she said, come over here and do this, that, and the other. He more than happy to do it.
And she more than happy to pay him. She might pay him $200 to cut the grass.
Because because there's no headache involved, right? There's no attachment involved.
Right.
Shout out to the cougars. Did y'all put the one in the chat? I got to see. Don't be scared. Shout out. Top Phoenix in the building. Balance. I'm gonna call y'all out. Shit. Lakey in the building. Recall in the building. Braveheart in the building. Cameron in the building. Shout out to the. God damn it. Shout out to the cougars in the house. All right.
Yeah, she's not worried about what's in his phone and who he waits. She's not concerned about.
I'm now taking applications for the cougar community. We need a whole cougar community. Listen, that's the village right there. Girl, you done opened up the Pandora's box now. Shit. Go ahead, Sister Rev. You've been very very conservative, and I know you can cut loose. You need some of this Blue Lotus tea. Come on over here. Shameless plug. If you haven't purchased the Blue Lotus tea, it's sacredtea.net. It's available now. I have the new and improved Equinox blend. Powerful. I now added ashwagandha, burdock root, hibiscus, soursop, moringa, green tea, and peppermint with pineapple slices. Honey, you can have this hot or cold. Available now. Let me go ahead and give y'all a little sacred discount code. Listen, honey, I got to pay some bills. You know what I'm talking about? Sister
Oh
got to
my
pay the
God,
bills.
the Cougar
I got to pay the
community.
bills. Sacredtea.net. I'm gonna go ahead and give y'all a little discount code. Use, can I give y'all? Sacred Lotus. Use Sacred Lotus. Those of you watching the show today, use Sacred Lotus as the discount code. Save you 10% on your purchase. We're fully stocked right now. That doesn't last long. I make 2 batches a month, and I keep it fresh. I try not to keep a lot of inventory because I want you to get it fresh. And if you we sell out, you can always join the VIP emailing list at sacredtea.net. Use the coupon code Sacred Lotus. Save 10%. Back to the show. I had to do that. You know what I'm saying? I got bills out here. I think something due this week. Listen, this is a phenomenal show. Sisters, y'all are amazing. Sister Diva though. Sister, like, look here. This is what we need to do. Fuck the bullshit. Like, stop all the games and the foolishness. This is it. He a predator. You need to stay in your damn ground. If you want to mix it finagle, be 50 and over. So and have your own shit. And make sure you know so they can go cut. You need your grass cut, this and that and the other. I'm telling you, I'm taking applications for the cougar community because we need this. I thank you so much, Sister Rev. Come on now. I want to go into a video you talked about. You was dropping on you was breaking down the video of the X and the Y chromosome, the masculine, but there was a particular you was talking about sexuality. And you had mentioned it was you was what is that video? You was responding to someone and they took it out of context about when I think you were talking about lesbianism, but it wasn't sexual, right? And you
Right.
said when you mentioned that, I thought that was phenomenal because when most men hear us talk like this, regardless of whatever your sexuality is, it's your business, in my opinion. I don't toot my horn on my sexuality, but I'm not going to parade it either. But when you was answering this woman's comment, you was talking about how she took it out of context when you were talking about the X and the Y chromosome and how you went and merged it into lesbianism. So can you expound on that a little bit for me?
Yeah, so you must be talking about is it the one about it ain't the one
It was
about
like pride. It was something about pride.
pride
And
and the
then
chakras.
hold on. Yeah, but do I need to pull? Let me pull up.
Yeah, go pull because
I'm
honey,
about to pull up the video because I
'cause
was
I
like,
got so
damn,
many different takes on that
honey.
stuff.
Yeah, I know you be lit. You be lit on the shit. And don't y'all be going, oh, they gonna be talking about. I know this what this was all about. No, this
Yeah.
ain't what this all about. You just hold your damn ass still. And I'm gonna play this video and let me see. I got it saved here. Because I was like, yo, what the oh shit, I ain't never heard that shit broke down like that before.
Oh, real
Yeah.
quick. You said something real quick.
Go
You don't
ahead.
have to be 50 and over to do
Oh,
what I'm talking about. All
you just
right.
gotta have your own shit.
Young sisters know how to get their money and get their own whatever and then handle business. What I'm saying is he doesn't have to be in the house the whole time. All right. Let him do what he came to do and then let him go and be free.
Stop trying to apply meaning to it. Just let it be. Because we
Yeah.
associate our identity. We get our value from being seen as the mother and the housewife. And that's it. In 1970, they cut that women can get everything put in their name. So now we 50 years into that. And it's time to go ahead and transition that mindset away from needing the male.
And thank you for saying that because that shows, look, she was in slavery back in the 70s. She couldn't get anything in her name. She get married because you belong to him. If that ain't slavery, I don't
Right.
know what to tell you.
You got hold on. I'm almost there. Take off the glasses because I was like, what the hell? Is the Y chromosome narcissistic? Was it that one? Oh, is divine femininity a lesbian expression?
Yeah, the women are naturally lesbian.
Yeah. Hold on. Was that it? You was answering.
That wasn't a response video though. So if you talking about a response video, it's
No,
gotta be something
this
else.
was a response video. Hold on. I just saw this shit today. It's part about a mama. I can't find it now
Yeah,
because I saw it
if
today.
I posted it today, I ain't been back on there. They might have been untook that down because that got 40. It got the shares. They were sharing it more than they were doing anything else with it.
Honey, this was it's gone there. I can't find it now. I thought I
Oh
saved
no.
it. No, that's not it. It's not there no more.
Oh snap.
Girl, you don't piss somebody off about this shit
Yeah,
here.
they the boy cracking too many codes.
Yeah, it was definitely cracking because you was talking about more of it being a mentality, right? And how people always attributed these words to sexuality or um uh hold on. I can't find it. Something told me to save this thing, but it's not here. It was one of your recent ones, like you just did it like not too long ago. All right, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I took up the time for that, y'all. We might have a part two. Cause you broke that shit down. I was like, well, goddamn. You sure broke that shit down in a way I didn't expect. Cause you ain't afraid to go there.
Yeah, like I mean,
You're not afraid to go there. All right, so moving on. We're gonna about to wrap this thing up. We've been on for almost 2 hours. And man, ladies, you have been phenomenal. You have really helped a lot of people in this chat. I wanted to open up the chat. If you all have any questions, please, now would be the time. But in the meantime, ladies, let the people know where they can find you. Let them know your social media, your services, and what you do, and where they can contact you.
all right. Well, I'm everywhere at the Poetic Metaphysician. So you look up the Poetic Metaphysician, you're gonna have Rev Sahaja on whether you on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, definitely TikTok. That's where all my fire is, but my long form content, all my lectures, they going up on YouTube at the Poetic Metaphysician.
Excellent.
All right. You, sister?
All right. Well, you all can find me at UNA University, UNA Republic. So if you find UNAUniversity.com and UNARepublic.com, you also can on YouTube, TikTok, X. All right. You can find us at UNA Republic. All right. Real quick, y'all can find this book, Beginner Law book, because we go into the laws, universal laws, hierarchy of laws, or what have you. You can get the ebook or the physical book. You can get that on UNAUniversity.com. I want to say real quick to you, Mama T.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
also, you are awesome. You're wonderful. Thank you for this beautiful platform. Because I know
here.
both of us, and especially Dr. Rev, so much respect for you for putting this information out and studying, because we're trying to reach our sisters and just get them to know self. And listen, I've said this before. We just need 10% because we feel like, oh, we got so much to do. These women are behind, but we need 10% of the women to figure out who they are and really get it in their minds. And automatically, everybody has to come into order. All right. That's that spiritual thing. They call it the 100% theory, or I call it the 10% fact, because spiritually we're all connected. Get us 10% of the women to know this and know who they are, or this thing is going to turn around so fast. All right? and it's going to clean up. And the only way it cleans up is when the original people, we already established who that is, come into knowledge of self. So I want to say thank you, Mama T, for this platform. And Dr. Rev, thank you for what you do. Y'all are awesome. Awesome, awesome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, y'all. I appreciate y'all for being here. This was a phenomenal show. A lot of information dropped. This was a whole like therapy session because this really opened up my mind to certain things, right? Because I'm literally trying to figure out, is this possible for us, right? Because we can see the tables are turning. We can see women are becoming empowered just mentally, spiritually. Once they started pulling from them churches and from the religions and started going into their divine selves and awakening, you can start to see the shift take place. And it's a ripple effect. And then I'm looking at how some of the brothers are acting, and some of them are like encouraging sisters. Yeah, we need you because the world's ending. So y'all better hurry up, wake up, and save us from this shit, right? And some are not so welcoming of the shift. And so I'm like trying to find, is there such thing as a happy medium, right? But never thought about our natures being inverted, right? And accepting the male as, because I was under that thing. You're supposed to be protecting us and shit while we go in the temples and do the rituals and start working on magic and shit, this, that, and the other. You supposed to be anchoring shit, making sure nothing comes to disturb us, but come to find out, like, it's y'all the ones disturbing us, right? I never like really like looked at it like, I mean, I saw it, maybe I didn't want to, but I'm gonna be honest with the shit. I'm gonna be honest, like, damn, I'm here trying to figure out a way to put this triangle into a block, basically, right? But it don't fit,
Right.
but taking a hard look at this shit, like, wow, maybe this is. But and when you said going back to how we used to live in villages, right? We still live like that if you really look at the village these days, right? So, and it's about acceptance, accepting who you are, knowing who you are, them accepting who they are, right? And getting down with the cougar community. Basically, being down with the
Village is
BC.
part of the village is part of the work that the matriarch circle. That's when I started that community that houses the Sacred Healing University, because people are always asking, how to, like, what do we do? Like they need that direction. And that village that you brought up, Sister Diva, like that's on point, because when I say women are naturally lesbian, that we're not talking about the patriarchy umbrella of it. We're not sexualizing.
Right. That's the video we was talking. I can't find it. That's what I wanted you to talk about.
It's pinned at the top of my page, but it wasn't a response video, but it was
maybe I'm looking
more or less a response to the men who were calling me lesbian because I speak on this stuff. And I'm like, well, that's women's nature. Our nature is to be admirers of the divine feminine. Like it's an adoration. We just, like, when I see another Black woman, I see myself, like, sister, I love you. Like, you look fly. I don't care who you are. And that's the whole idea that we have to get back to, instead of associating that validation with the male, with the patriarch. What the patriarch says, like you said, they want you to look a certain way in order for you to be divine. No, sister, you are me and I am mine. Like, this is us right here. It's the admiration. So, when I had broke down the word, if it's the video you're talking about, I broke down the word lesbian into loose ba'an, which is loose being the light, ba being the spirit, and an being God, which makes the term lesbian the God form of our sexuality.
Maybe that was the video, honey.
Yeah,
maybe,
because I mean,
I'm gonna play it right quick. Yeah, this might have been it. But
it's pinned at the very top of my TikTok, the very first video.
Yeah, that was. Y'all got a minute? Yeah, y'all got a minute. Y'all want to see this shit?
Go and roll, run it back.
Let me see if I can pull up the actual TikTok page on this computer without it crashing on, because TikTok be on some. They different. They not the same. But anyway, but I'm gonna pull this up right quick. I want y'all to hear this. How the sister breaks this thing down, and hold on. What the hell is it? Let me go to messages and let me get to your page. It's only gonna take a second if it lets me do it. Ooh, oh, the games people play. Come on, TikTok. I want to play this daggone thing. Oh, they won't let me click on your shit.
Mm-mm.
This crazy. Oh, hold on,
Wow.
hold on. I just hold on. Let me see if it go. Okay, hold on. It's playing like TikTok for real. Like I click on it and it bounces. It's so weird. This I'll be going through
Oh
the most
Lord.
craziest shit. But I'm about to play this clip. Y'all check this out and let me know what you think. Let me share the screen right quick. Yeah, this is gonna be pretty darn good. All right, share the screen. All right, here we go. All right, we're gonna play this right here. Can y'all see it?
Yes. It's not no
No,
volume.
We can see it, but no volume. Yeah.
there's no volume.
Yeah, you gotta, if you share that, make sure when you share it again, you click on volume, turn the volume on.
All right,
So
hold on. I
yeah,
thought the
so
volume. Oh, here we
under,
go. Okay, here we
yeah,
go. Let me start it from the T, y'all. Can you hear it?
Nah,
no,
it's playing.
you gotta
What?
go out of that present and then go back into it. And when you go back into it, make sure when you
The
say
volume's up.
turn the volume on, because some it won't turn on unless you turn it on.
All right, here. Let me exit out. Let me go back in and try this one more again.
Yeah, whatever you
Windows,
click to show, make sure you turn that volume on before you hit save.
share screen, share audio tab. All right, I got it on here. Let's see. The volume's up and it's low as hell. Can you hear anything?
Nope, still no volume.
Hold on. Let me see something here. S- Still no volume?
Nope, no volume.
That's okay. I no, honey. There's
Crazy.
more than one way to skin this cat. Hold on.
I know, skin a cat, skin
We gonna
it.
skin this. Is another way. I'm gonna just have to play it from the phone. And hold on. I got my thing hooked up here. I'm gonna play this right here, and then I'm gonna show it on the camera. You should be able to hear it. It's still not, wow. Come on. Ooh. The hate is real. Hold on. I ain't giving up yet. One more
I'm
again.
excited. I'm ready to see it. We holding on.
Absolutely.
Wow, they are not really
Of masculinity, you
huh.
think it just means we want to fuck each other.
Oh shit. Hold on.
Hi, my name is Patriarchs of
Parental
religious
what they call it, parental advisory. You got some children,
Viewer
they
discretion
got
is
to
high.
leave the
patriarchs of
room,
religious.
right? We about to go from PG-13 straight into R. Okay. Straight into R. All right. Let me single my screen right quick. And then I want y'all to listen and hear. We're gonna go.
Believe women are naturally masculine. But because the narcissistic system of patriarchy has polluted your mind with the supremacy of masculinity, you think it just means we want to fuck each other. Hi, my name is Reverend Dr. Sahaja L. I help women break narcissistic spells using ancient metaphysics so that they can increase their proximity to luxury. See, just like Stack in the movie Sinners, y'all are so infatuated by white women that you don't even realize she uses the same narcissistic spells taught by the white man who raised her to get you disconnected from the womb man who made you.
Mm.
And as a result, you weaponize the black woman's liberation against her by demonizing her for decentering you. And so anytime we talk about the return of the matriarch or divine femininity, you resort to calling us lazy. But for your uneducated information, The term lesbian was coined in the 13th century in reference to the island of Lesbos, birthplace of the Greek poet Sappho. Now, the patriarch will have you believe that this was due to the fact that her work was a depiction of her lust for other women. But in actuality, the significance of her work was that she was so in love with the godliness of womanhood that you wish you had, that she dedicated her life to expressing that love in art form. Because what better way to honor the divinity of femininity than by alchemizing her creative energy into poetry? After all, Sappho isn't just a poet. Sappho is also Sophia. And now I wouldn't be Reverend Dr. Sahasha L if I didn't give you the tools to break down the spell. Now, check this out for a minute. The word lesbian can be seen as an alchemical factorization of the sounds lus ba'an, lus meaning light, as in wisdom, ba meaning duality, as in balance, or more deeply in Egyptian, ba, which is code for spirit. And finally, an, which you may know as anu, which simplifies to the word God. Essentially, the word lesbian has more to do with the state of acknowledging and being harmonized with the creator, which we refer to as feminine energy, than it does the idea of walking about the world munching on other people's carpets. The idea behind black men calling the return of the matriarch a lesbian feminist movement in his so beloved and narcissistic white girl term is because he knows that when the black woman rises, the ego he serves will be subsided and he will be left alone to master his own femininity, which you can typically find him battling with in my comments. Speaking of subsiding, the significance of a nu in this case, which is the on in lesbian, is when we reduce the vowels, we are left with nu, which is also the ancient tongue for primordial waters. The same primordial waters that birthed Ma Sun, which came to be known as Ra. Furthermore, nu is also the 13th letter of the Greek alphabet and is used in physics to represent frequency. And numerologically speaking, 13 also represents the divine femininity in that there are 13 moons within the lunar cycle. And the moon also happens to be the god of the waters. These waters, or nu, govern the emotional / feminine body, which is the 3D expression of the spirit itself. Now, for the sake of conversation, let's take a moment to dissect modern day lesbian culture, since all of that likely bypassed your big head and went straight to your little one because you lack the ability to comprehend life outside of the phallus. I will have you also know that cunnilingus is not just an uneventful act to prep the kitty for the dog. It is the holy equivalent to communion. Instead of 2 loaves and a glass of wine, you get 2 lips and a sip of the divine. This is what made the difference between Stax perishing as the white woman's pawn and Smoke and Sammy, who honored their creator and in the end lived on. But long story short, the lesson here is calling me a lesbian is more of an insult to your intelligence than it is to my purpose. Because patriarchy has limited you to the act of sexualizing your creative energy, when divine femininity is the art of alchemizing your creative energy, which is the sole principle that continues to remind us that the womb man is the true man, and the true man, or lesbian, is God. Checkmate.
Oh shit! God, listen here. Hold on now. Wait. Yo, the sister Cole, y'all. The sister Cole. Shout out to Dr. Rev Saha.
Dr. Rev.
Yo, she is. Come on, y'all. Y'all gotta. Come on, give a round of applause, y'all. Give a round of applause. That sister laid that shit down. She laid that shit down, honey. What? Listen. I don't think y'all understand. This is gonna be at the Quantum Fest, y'all. Make sure you get your tickets at the Quantum Fest. Yes, Dr. Saj will be in Oh shit, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. Dr. Saj will be in the building. I'm trying to add you. How you get you back in here, sis? Come on. Are you in there?
Yeah, look,
I got
yeah.
so
Okay.
excited. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Listen, this was a phenomenal show. You sisters are amazing. What y'all think about that video, y'all? What y'all think about that video? Put a one in the chat if that. No, put some fire emojis in the chat. Put some fire emojis in the chat. Put the
That was
fire,
awesome.
mic drops, fire emojis in deep bombs, all the above. Sisters are on fire. Make sure you follow these sisters on social media. Make sure you check out their services and their products. Listen, this channel, Stella Maris Podcast, is really all about the awakening, the activation of the divine feminine, because this is our realm at the end of the day. And until we face our ugly truths, there's no way we can heal and correct all the things that went wrong. You have to wake up and snap out of the spell that you have, damn, cast it upon yourself, baby. Shit. We did it. We did it. And we have to fix it. So, man, I'm excited. I cannot. We got to do this again. We
Yes,
most
ma'am.
definitely have to have this conversation
Absolutely.
again. Once again, thank you, sisters. I love y'all. Sister Rev, sister, we call you now Dr. Rev.
Dr. Rev.
I'm going to see you at the Quantum Fest.
Yes,
Make sure
ma'am.
y'all get your tickets. Sister Diva,
Yes.
man, sister be
So,
coming with the records. Sister be coming with the science. And sister be coming with the raw truth. Let me get everybody's zodiac sign. What's your sign, Sister Diva?
Aquarius.
Of course.
I don't even
Of
know.
course. And I know Rev, you Pisces.
Yes, ma'am. Pie day.
Man. Fish.
January.
So
January.
of course, January. All right. So check it. I'm a Cancer. Of course, we had to go into the deep topic. Of course, we had to go into the mysticism with the Pisces and the esoteric. And of course, we had to bring the knowledge and the truth with the Aquarius. And with that being said, man, thank y'all so much for joining us tonight. Thank you, ladies. I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna put you in the backstage. Hang out for me a little bit, because I'm gonna close out the
Hold
show.
on, mama. Somebody asked for
Go
our
ahead.
cash out.
Oh,
So yeah, Sister
tell
Diva,
put the
you
cash
got
out.
cash out because my cash app is Book Rev Sahaja. Had $ Book
Go
Rev
ahead.
Sahaja.
Dollar
Dollar
sign book.
sign,
Hold on. I'm
dollar
gonna put it
sign
in the
USA
chat.
Republic.
Hold on 1 second. Let me put them in the chat one at a time. Say yours again, Dr. Rev.
Book Rev Sahaja.
Book Rev Sahaja. All right. So I just dropped that in the chat. If y'all can see that, I'm gonna put hold on. No, that ain't you. Hold on. God damn it. I'm telling y'all. Hold on. I just put it in. Here we go. All right. Y'all see that? It's on the screen. And for yours, Sister Diva,
Dollar sign UNA Republic.
UNAB Pub. That's right, y'all. Support these sisters. They dropped some jewels for y'all today. UNA Republic. Make sure you get that screenshot it. Do something, whatever you got to do. Get that. I'm about to drop the other sisters in here right now. Actually, I'm gonna do it like this. I'm gonna put both of y'all in here at the same time. Um, hold on. This thing flying in the background. Hold on, where is it at? Here we go. Oh, that's you, sister. Where's the DNA? Here we go. DNA, UNA. My bad. Make sure you go and support Sister Diva. That's it right there, right? Is that
That's
correct?
it.
UNA
That's it.
Republic?
Yes. That's
Cash
it.
App. Make sure you donate to these sisters. Listen, um, we're doing our best to put in this work, right? And this is what we do. This is our passion. This is our love. This is how we give back to our community, right? These women here put in the time, they put in the scholarship, right? They have services. And I just want it's time for us to really start appreciating the knowledge that we're getting from these divine feminine energies here. This whole platform is really a platform to bring on sisters who have this information to share with you. Now, there's a lot of other platforms that don't showcase us the way that they should. They're not representing us in how we are, right? I'm not afraid of our sisters. I love my sisters, and the stronger, the rawer you are, honey, this is your home. Come on here and showcase and do your thing. If you want to be a guest on the Stella Maris podcast, please contact me at info@sacredtea.net, info@sacredtea.net. Or you can go to sacredtea.net and just click on Stella Maris podcast and fill out the form. It's only me, y'all. So if y'all were filling out forms and I didn't get back to you, trust me, I will. Honey, I got to make the teas. I got to make the merch. I got to make the Mama T content. I gotta feed the dog and walk the dog and do all kind of stuff. Honey, it's me. And then I gotta find time to sleep. Now I gotta do the Quantum Fest. Listen, there's a lot on my plate. I'm gonna get to you. Trust me. I'm not ignoring y'all. I just gotta take off this hat and then I gotta put on this hat, and I'm doing a lot. One day, the universe will bless me with a dynamic team, and we'll be able to put something more powerful together for y'all. What was you gonna say, sis?
What's that? I said very soon you're gonna be blessed. You're gonna have fortune with that. Yeah, very soon.
I appreciate that. Well, once again, thank you, ladies. May you enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you for joining me, and I will talk to you all soon. Woo! What a show! What a show! What a show! What a show! Thank you all for joining me tonight. I appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Listen. We are doing our best these days. We are working with what we got, and what we're doing is remembering. We're remembering our ancient memory. So we return, not to where we were broken, but to where we were first whole. From the ashes of betrayal and turning against each other, silence and separation, baby, these matriarchs are rising, not to seek revenge, but to restore balance. We name the wounds. We face the shadows. And now we remember. The throne was never truly lost. It was just waiting as it sits within us. To every sister listening, the war was never just outside of us. It was inside us, in our names, in our stories, our mirrors. And yet through all of it, we still carry the codes. We still bleed portals. We still speak stars. This is just not the rise of women, honey. This is the return of the original order. Womb born, earth rooted, cosmic, unapologetic, whole. So, to the matriarchs rising now, baby, take your place. Guard your gates. Heal the web. Speak the truth. Hold the light and never again forget who you are. And until next time, I'm Shy Bliss, aka Mama T, your host, your sister, your reflection. I love y'all. Peace out. And until next time, just take over the whole world and shout out to the Cougars, honey. Shout out to the Cougars. Love y'all. Peace.
Get ready to tap into the frequency of the future. Quantum Fest 2025 is going all the way up this summer solstice weekend, June 21st to 22nd in Houston, Texas. And trust, you've never seen anything like it. It's where sacred science meets soul, where metaphysics, music, mysticism, and innovation collide in a cosmic vibe like no other. From quantum tech demos and ancient wisdom downloads to live performances, activation, art, sound healing, futuristic wellness, and lit vendors. This is the portal you've been waiting for. 2 days, one frequency. 1 million downloads.
Galactic nomads and Merkabahs they ride, beaming down rhythms, making gravity collide. Boom bap echoes through the concrete maze. Urban streets lit by interstellar haze. Macabre frequencies, they elevate the mind. Beats so divine, leave the cosmos entwined. Sense and conga supposed through the veins. Urban hearts awaken, breaking astral chains. Cosmic traps spinning, bending time's thread. Basslines heavy, resurrecting the dead. Urban alleys glow with their radiant light. Spaceships humming through the endless night. Beats in the bloodstream, rhythms don't sleep. Merkabahs roll through, planting seeds deep. Stars in their wake, galaxies.